you have a lot of, commitments and national commitments, again, the national component, right? I pledge to try to do something. But there is this view that it could be thought of differently. And one of the things that came out of the recent COP was the Loss and Adaptation Fund, and that was a big win, right? But how are we going to implement that? Who's going to do the funding? Where are we going to send the funding? What are the governance mechanisms, again, that will enable that financing to be channeled to the right places and in the right way? And similarly, can we think of other funding mechanisms for those least advantaged? The lady earlier from Lebanon, Kuwait mentioned about marginalized communities and disadvantaged. How can the global community really ensure that no one is left behind? And how can we use the UN system to do that? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay. My name is Walid Zubari. I'm from Bahrain. I really don't know where to start, but I'm going to probably reiterate some of the comments that I have indicated before. West Asia is highly heterogeneous, and I'm afraid that we are talking about this part of the world where SDGs are not that much of an issue, like in Qatar and Bahrain and oil-rich countries, while maybe May has really opened up the issues when she talked about the refugees, the conflicts, the issues that we are facing. So I think the discussion is going into a very biased direction, not catering for the West Asia part. That's Iraq, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, and Yemen. And we are talking only about the oil exporting countries. And this is not, I don't think the output will be good. The other things that I think, I'm not sure, but I think we have been ignoring a huge elephant in the room in our discussion. We started with the global issues. We should have at least the opening ceremony and yesterday talked about our own issues in West Asia. We have a lot of reports that we have identified the main critical issues that West Asia is facing and the Arab region is facing. We have the SDG index and dashboard. We have the last League of Arab States report of challenges facing the Arab region. We are having ISQA report on the Arab region telling us exactly where is the problem with the SDGs. But what we are doing here, we are just hitting here and there and there and there without even focusing our discussion. And I think that should have been, overcome by making a presentation at the beginning, by presenting one of those reports and telling us focus on those issues, how to do it. Our job here is to advise you or trying to highlight our major issues so you can take it and highlight it in the global issue. So we can have some funds, some attention, some collaborative work in solving our issues. But what's happening that we are talking about, many issues. Like for instance, we are talking about plastic all the time because we have many people who are working in the plastic. But I mean, we do have more issues. We have the food security issue nobody has talked about. We have the water issues nobody talked about. We have the empowering women nobody talked about. I mean, there's so many things that we are ignoring them. And it's not only one elephant, probably many elephants in the room has been ignored. So I think the discussion has to be, refocused more toward our own needs, our Sustainable Development Index report, as well as League of Arab States report has clearly said what are the main issues. Clearly said. Women empowerment is one major issue. Okay, decent jobs, and that's the second issue. And I think I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's since 2002, 2003, we know what is missing in terms of enablers. The first SDG, Arab Human Development Index, indicated the three issues very, very clearly. Women problems, empowerment, governance issue, TAP, transparency, accountability, and participation is another issue, and the youth bulge with knowledge. These are two missing things. So this is the education, and I think let's I don't want to, this is what I said, I don't want to be negative in this meeting, but I think we have to, okay, all right. I think we have to think our approach for this, because I am afraid now, we are now in the last day, and I don't think our messages and so on. Now, we have been doing a lot of diagnosis, but no prognosis has been put on the table yet. Some prognosis came from market mechanism as a good way in achieving things. If I want to correct a situation, especially in the issues like carbon, water, food, and these things, I'm probably working on I have to work on the supply side, but I also have to work on the demand side. And the demand side, I have 3 tools. I have policy tools that I can, on instruments I have to use. Socio-political, which means awareness and education. I have to make sure that the young as well as the old understand the consequences of their consumption patterns and behavior. The other one is what we call it structural tools, that we force technology and these things. And the third thing is economic, which is mentioned by my colleague Ahmed. So these are the 3 tools. We have to give you, as West Asia, which one we have to work on more, and to give it more priority. And by the way, they all enforce each other. I mean, I'm not saying one. I can, with awareness, by putting a tariff, I can increase awareness, and so on and so on. They feedback. There is a feedback between this. But I think we should come up from this meeting with this type of thinking, that what is needed to really achieve the SDGs that we are really having problem with. But to go and talk, in general terms, and let's do plastic, let's do this, let's do that, it's okay. It's a waste management issue. It's not a plastic. It's a waste management, or not only the waste. It's not the plastic that's really a problem. We are having waste management in every aspect of life. Okay, it's not only the plastic. That's why I'm saying that we are going too much details and issues, while we have to give a general policies for you, because the main objective of this meeting is to bridge to the science policy gap, as has been said in the concept note. And this is our job, is to tell you that this is the science behind the issue. This is what the type of policy that you have to convey to the decision maker. That's at least, my take on this. And I'm sorry, again, I don't want to be negative, take you back to this stage, but that's what I have. Thank you.
So this was a really excellent exchange, and I know that probably there's still more that needs to be said, but we are a bit over time, and it's time for a coffee break. And I think some of these conversations will continue during the break as well. So please come back at 11:15, and we'll then kind of refocus the conversation on the policies and tools, on the levers, and what some suggestions are for really bringing people together and bringing about change. So back here at 11:15, and thank you so much, everyone.
A little bit flexible based on the conversations this morning. We've gotten so much information in terms of the different entry points on human well-being and capacity, on energy, and on the environmental commons, and in part brought into focus a little bit by our colleague from Bahrain. We want to talk about the tools, and I mentioned yesterday in the GSDR we talk about levers for change, and this is a category of tools that's constant from the 2019 report to the 2023 report. And so we're going to break out into our working groups again, a different structure with the rooms according to the levers. So we have governance, economy and finance, individual and collective action, science and technology, and capacity building. So in the rooms, we have 3 rooms again, and so I'll tell you how we'll cluster the levers. But we'd like you to really focus on solutions and tools based on those levers, talking about the full range of issues from the region. You may know that the GSDR, the Global Sustainable Development Report, is an assessment of assessments. And so we do look at a lot of reports. I know our colleague mentioned the League of Arab States report, the reports coming out of the regional commissions, the SDG progress reports that have region-specific information on progress on individual goals. We look at all of those reports, and that feeds into the GSDR. And so we really are looking for specific examples from your experience, from your research, of solutions and of ways that you're addressing some of these challenges, not necessarily just in the Gulf states, but in the region as a whole. And so that's what we want to achieve in this breakout session, just talking about solutions. They're in the report. The final chapter is the call to action, and there's a series of recommendations that the scientists will be making to the member states. And so this is the chance to sort of feed into that chapter and talk about specific policy recommendations that you may have. So we're going to talk, as I said, we have 3 breakout rooms like yesterday, and we will divide them like this. Upstairs, we will talk about individual and collective action and science and technology. So those 2 together. And Astra and Jaime will be working on those issues. And that will be upstairs. Is that okay if you can find the room upstairs? So that's upstairs. Downstairs, where human well-being was yesterday, we will do economy and finance and governance. So we're all changing rooms. We want to encourage a different collection of people in the different rooms. And then in the room this way, we will talk about capacity building. That's the 5th lever, which is the new one between 2019 and 2023. And that has come up a lot in all of the regional consultations, the importance of building capacity, education, especially with regions with a large youth population. So it's a little bit spontaneous, but does anyone have any questions, or does this make sense? Okay, so it'll be an open discussion like we had yesterday. And again, we'll be taking notes, recording what you say, writing down what you say, and feeding those recommendations back to the scientists for inclusion possibly in the report. Mindful of the time, I think what we'll do is straight from the breakouts, we'll go directly to lunch. So we will have an hour in the breakout room, and then we'll go to a little bit less than an hour. Lunch starts at 12:30, and we'll have 1 hour for lunch, and then we'll return here at 1:30. Yes, and then we'll have our closing speeches and panel discussion. Yes, please.
On Qatar or the Arab region. Some would say sometimes the Middle East or Western Asia. I'm a geographer by background. These are different, settings. So if you could clarify. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So there are different designations. At the UN, we call it Western Asia, based on the regional commission. The report calls it the Arab region, and there are also Middle East and North Africa. So it's all of the above. We want the full picture of this region defined broadly. And obviously, many of you are from the Gulf states. Personal experience is probably based here, but we also want to hear about research from other countries within the region. I know. So that was that reflects the slight. Yes, it's the broadest